Not me. Sorry.
I knew you had the flag. I just wanted to know.
Nope, I didn't work on that. I should have. Next time I'll make sure I have one ready.
Okay, you're all set.
All right, thank you very much. Good morning. Today is Friday, February the 6th, 2026, and I'm Delegate Edith Patterson. I'm here to welcome you to the second meeting of the Southern Maryland delegation. Um, we have had a very vigorous week, and today we're delighted to have information as it pertains to Southern Maryland. But before we do that, I'm going to ask Delegate Todd Morgan if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Say a pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so very much. Delegate Long has a conflict this morning, so if we will bow our heads for a moment in prayer. Heavenly Father, as we gather here this morning, we ask for their grace, their guidance. We thank you for the blessings you've afforded us. We thank you for the snow that you sent us. But most of all, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here to do the business of Southern Maryland. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well, thank you. We're really excited to have on the agenda information relative to Southern Maryland. But first, let's start with Charlotte Davis, who's going to bring us information about an overview, opportunities, and so many other exciting things under rural Maryland. Charlotte, good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the delegation. I'm Charlotte Davis, Executive Director of the Rural Maryland Council. I have a quick presentation I'd like to share with you this morning. So hopefully you can see that now. First off, I want to just start by thanking Governor Moore for including funds in the FY 2027 budget for Rural Maryland Council. We are level funded. So given this difficult fiscal time, we are really thankful for those funds and ask that folks on the appropriations and the budget and tax committees, please, please keep our funds there. We have been cut 30% over the past 2 years. And we hope to retain these funds for Southern Maryland and the rest of the state. So I just wanted to mention the fiscal year 2026 grantees. There were 7 grantees for Southern Maryland, totaling $835,875. So we do try to make sure that these funds get equitably distributed across the state. We could use probably some more applications from St. Mary's and Calvert County. Charles County did really well this year. So looking at next year, hopefully with our funds retained being kept in the budget, we plan to open our grant portal April 20th. So we will be accepting letters of intent to apply. At that point, that is when the grant opens. So it's important that we receive those letters of interest by May 15th. We will be doing grant information sessions. We do them online, and we will do one in Southern Maryland in person. So always ask that if any organization or entity comes to you and needs resources, to please feel free to send them my way. They can call me, email me, they can come to these sessions. We're happy to help them. Part of what we're trying to do new this year is we do have a bill related to rural readiness. So when we get those entities, a lot of times they're just not really ready to apply. They just say, we need resources. We say, we understand, but there's a long way to go from we need resources to actually applying for a grant or figuring out ways for sustainability, such as revenue generation, alternative financing. So we have Senate Bill 300 in the Finance Committee and House Bill 461. We thank Senator Katie Fry-Hester and Delegate Natalie Ziegler for being our sponsors. We have a number of co-sponsors that we appreciate. Delegate Patterson, thank you. And so we want to try to further, in a more formal way, assist those small towns and nonprofits. And we're asking for $100,000 for capacity building for technical assistance, things like business plans, strategic plans, site assessments, building assessment, feasibility studies. communities. So if, please ask for your support, but if you have any questions, please reach out to me. So the main thing I really wanted to talk about today was the Rural Health Transformation Program. Those members on the health committees may have heard about this. This was authorized last year under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It's about $50 billion for the state. The Maryland Department of Health applied to the Centers for Medicaid Services, and we received award of $168 million over 5 years for rural health. The Rural Maryland Council is a part of this program. We are going to be a sub-recipient. And there's three main pillars of this program as envisioned by the Department of Health. The first one's focused on workforce development. As you know, we've got lots of where we are underserved, chronically underserved in terms of healthcare workforce. So some of the funds will be there. I'm excited to say that the part of this program is going to create a Southern Maryland AHEC. That's a area health education center. So we've previously had one in Western Maryland, Eastern Shore, and Baltimore. But as a result of this grant program, there will be the formation of a Southern Maryland area health education center. So look for more details coming from the Department of Health on that one. The main focus of the program is going to be sustainable access, innovative care. So really focusing on telehealth and integrated care, mobile care, getting care closer to people instead of having them, patients come to facilities and doctors, the doctors and the nurses are going to go to them. We know that with telehealth, that's been a really innovative way to reach a lot of people. It's not the silver bullet, but it certainly helps in terms of mental health, chronic disease management. So we're hoping to see some innovative strategies. Part of this grant is going to create a centralized hub and then work more with CRISP in terms of getting the word out related to telehealth. And then the last pillar is this empower rural Marylanders to eat for health. And this is where the Rural Maryland Council comes in. We are in partnership with the Maryland Department of Agriculture, the Maryland Department of Emergency Management, MDEM, and the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. So our piece specifically is we are looking to increase local healthy food access through aggregation and then spur Maryland institutions to purchase more locally grown food. How that will be done is through a competitive RFP, similar to what we currently do with our grant cycles now. So I'm looking to send out an RFP in April, as soon as I get it approved by the board. So following those similar timelines that I mentioned related to the RIMPIF and MERIDAF grant programs, May 15th. That date may be a little later given our timeframes. We have not gotten our cooperative agreement yet with the Department of Health. Right now where the application stands is the initial application was submitted. We received an award notice in December, and then the Department of Health needed to resubmit the budget related to, the initial application was for $200 million. And then we received notice that we received 168. So needed to submit a revised budget to the Centers for Medicaid Services. And that was done, I believe, last week. And so we should know in the next 30 days what that approval is with the Centers for Medicaid Services. So we are under tight timelines. We are required to have these funds obligated by September of 2026 for the first year. So we'll be moving quickly on this once we receive that final approval from the Department of Health. But the idea is to really get, help local farmers to get more local production into institutions, into, individuals to improve overall health. So well, it's kind of a work in progress. So we will be hearing more. You will be hearing more from us about what we're looking to do with this. But if anybody has any thoughts or suggestions, I'm all ears as we move forward in this. We're currently developing those guidelines and criteria. And if anybody wants a copy of the grant application as it was submitted, I'm happy to share that. And then my final thing was just also authorized under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act was the Opportunity Zones 2.0. This was a program the first Trump administration enacted. It was not permanent. The new HR1 makes these permanent and opens up a new round of designations. So opportunity zones are they offer a tax benefit for those entities that want to invest in small businesses or large redevelopment projects. And the new focus will be on rural areas specifically. I believe there was one opportunity zone investment in the last round in Southern Maryland. It'll be interesting to see how that moves forward. The Department of Housing and Community Development will be designated new zones. So these are geographic design zones. The last round, they were basically new market tax credit districts. So if you're familiar with those, followed those. The U.S. Treasury will be releasing eligible census tracts in the next couple months, and then DHCD needs to designate those tracts in July of 2026. So this is an opportunity to get private financing into our rural areas. So if, we're hopeful that it's a little more successful than the first round. Most of those investments went to urban areas, but the requirement this time around will be for rural areas. So this is just my contact information. So if anybody's got any questions, any thoughts, please feel free to contact me. And I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to hearing the rest of the presentation this morning. Thank you.
Well, Charlotte, thank you very, very much. It's a lot of information. And, congratulations for the grantees of the grantees of the last round of awardees. I do want to make you aware to really ask a question. Are you aware that the new Speaker Jocelyn Pinamelnik, created the Rural Caucus? We're not part of the Rural Caucus. I guess it depends on certain criteria we did not meet, but the Rural Caucus has been very, very engaged, and I'm sure you're part of that, right?
Yeah, so I've been attending those meetings. I attended the first day they met, and we're there to help support everything they want. They're looking to really coalesce around legislation. So right now they're going through some information finding, having some short presentations, but really looking for bills that they can take to the speaker. And we've also met with the speaker, thanked her for that. Because we think it's a great opportunity for our rural areas to make their voices heard and they getting our issues the attention that they deserve. So we're working with those co-chairs, and we're looking forward to their effectiveness this session.
Well, thank you so very much. And we'll be talking later, because certainly when we think about people who live in the rural areas, not only to feed, I often feel that, or often think that we need to look at suggesting that people or residents also try growing their own, particularly if they live in rural areas with some land. All right, so great job. Thank you very, very much. And really appreciate it. All right, John Hartline is Executive Director of Tri-County Community Action. I'm sorry, Tri-County Council of Southern Maryland. Jumped the gun here. And John has a lot of information that you'd like to bring to us as well.
Yes, thank you very much, Chairman Patterson. I appreciate you having me here today. I just wanted to give an update on two things. One was the reception, the legislative reception. We are on track to have the reception at the Calvert House right there on State Circle. The latest information that Amber gathered for this presentation is that we have 13 sponsors now. Those sponsorships total about $16,000, and with the sponsorships and the people who have paid to be there, We are now at we're actually at $18,575. Our target number is we want to be close to 25,000. I do know that with the expected registrations, they usually come in the last 2 weeks. We do expect to be very close to that number. We would like to get a few more sponsorships. We have 5 of the $2,000 sponsorships, 2 of the $1,250 sponsorships, and 5 of the Battle Creek level $500 sponsorships. So we have a lot of sponsors, but we would like to get at least 3 or 4 more. And we have been in contact with some of our partners that have been in the past. So it's on track. It starts at 6:30 on Thursday. That's the 26th, I believe, of February. We usually had in the past have had it a little bit later from 7 to 9. We moved it a little bit earlier. Most people told us they wanted it to be from 6:30 to 8:30. So that's all set. I also wanted to mention one other thing that's coming up in just a week from now, or less than a week, and that is job fair in Charles County. This is a regional job fair that we hold in each one of the counties, but this one's a little bit unusual in that usually for regional job fairs, we usually attract somewhere around 30 businesses, and we usually attract 400 to 500 people. As you know, there are a number of people who are very concerned about their employment at the federal government level and some displaced workers. This job fair, which is at CSM La Plata campus on the 11th from 10 until 1 o'clock. We've already registered over 45 businesses, and over 1,500 people have registered for this job fair. That is probably 4 times the registration rate that we normally have for one of these events. And we expanded it. CSM was very gracious to open up several other rooms. There is going to be a family resource fair, which will have family resources from 6 organizations. So that's next week, and it should turn out to be quite an event. That's all I have today. Any questions?
Well, thank you very much. That's a lot. Are there any questions of members on board? Well, let me just say this, the job fair, I saw the numbers at the presentation, the former job fair, and I think it reflects the uncertainty and the need for employment of the residents of Southern Maryland, and also the leadership, John, that has been shown in terms of reaching out, and certainly the Corporation of College of Southern Maryland. So we have advertised on our newsletter, and so I'm going to encourage my colleagues to also put the word out about this event. It's well attended. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, if there are no other questions, we're going to move to Lucille Walker, Southern Maryland National Heritage Area. And Lucille is always a lot of exciting information.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the delegation. I appreciate this opportunity. Yes, I am the Executive Director of the Southern Maryland National Heritage Area. I'm also a co-chair of the Maryland Heritage Areas Coalition and a vice chair of Partners of Open Space. And I mentioned this last one because our funding comes from Program Open Space and not from the general fund. So I wanted to put a plug in for Program Open Space as a vitally important resource for Maryland. I would also like to begin by thanking the governor for including us level funding for the Maryland Heritage Area program in the current budget. And I wanted to let you all know that we had legislation last year that passed almost unanimously through the General Assembly. Unfortunately, suffered a veto. We do have that legislation in again this year. It's being supported by Senator Corderman and Delegate Baylor. It is SB 0638 and HB 0654. Again, this is a similar bill to the one that passed last year. And it's important to note that the current funding, the 6 million that we get, over 5.1 million of that goes directly back to the communities by way of grants and economic stimulus. And it has a powerful impact in Maryland, from everything from museums and parks and waterways and our stories and who we are. Maryland is only one of 2 states in the entire nation that has a state-based heritage area program. We're lucky to be state-based, and we're also lucky to be one of 2 Maryland-focused national heritage areas. That is the Southern Maryland National Heritage Area and the Baltimore National Heritage Area. We work a lot together. This bill is important that I reiterate the reason for it is because we are capped. We are not part of the formula. We're a separate byline. And this year alone, we've received over 12 million in requests, important requests, just amazing requests for grants and opportunities throughout our state that we're not able to fund, but a little under half of those at this time. And so this is not a funding mandate. It has no fiscal note. It is merely a lifting of the cap that allows for up to may rather than shall. So no funding note on this. It's just something that will set this program up in the future. And we'll keep it not limited in the future when program open space is flush again or has grown enough that this is an appropriate request for the governor to make. Because we actually fall under the governor's office, even though it's cycles through planning and MHT, it gets very confusing. But so that's why this legislation is been submitted. We would very much like to request support from the Southern Maryland delegation, and if that's possible, and if not, from individual members, we would love co-sponsors. I know that Senator Bailey has already signed on, but I would love co-sponsors from our region, if possible. And I have a couple other quick fun updates, but I'll pause there in case there are questions just related to the bill.
What is that bill number?
The House bill number is 0654.
Okay.
The Senate number is 0638.
Okay.
And we're grateful for this opportunity to ask for the support of the Southern Maryland delegation, because I think the Southern Maryland delegation rocks. So that would be an amazing support letter if we had it. The other update I want to give you, and I promise this is not a history lesson, we don't have time for that, but in case you don't know what the Liberty Tree is, I'm just going to throw this out to you very quickly because Maryland is unique in this way as well. We're part of what is called the Maryland Liberty Tree Project. The original Liberty Tree was in Boston, and that was cut down by the British when they invaded in order to sort of quell the revolution. So other colonies chose big trees to meet under, symbolically to support. And again, this is our 250th year, so there's a reason for all this happening. And so Maryland had a tree. Ours was the longest living. It fell in 1999. It was on the St. John's campus in Annapolis. But Maryland had the foresight to take exact DNA replicas of this tree. So as you hear about Liberty trees being planted throughout the United States, all of them are Maryland's Liberty Tree. No other state has an exact replica of the Liberty Tree that they had. So we are very proud of that. And this project, which is in conjunction with DNR, with Preservation Maryland, with the Maryland Center for History and Culture, with Maryland 250, the Coalition of Maryland Heritage Areas, and the Southern Maryland National Heritage Area specifically, are helping to choose places throughout the state. Every county and the city of Baltimore will have a Liberty Tree planted. We're going to open this initiative on March 25th, Maryland Day. After the Rural Maryland Council event on that day, we're going to have an event where we're going to walk to the pack a house, and plant the tree in a big ceremony. We really want the legislature involved. And also each of your counties we'll have an opportunity to have a celebration with a Liberty tree being planted. And so the team meets this afternoon. We're going over a lot of the different sites. They have to meet a lot of criteria, both historically and in terms of the health of the tree. So this is a big project statewide, and we're really excited to tell you guys about it. Any questions about that?
Well, that's exciting. I checked March 25th is a Wednesday. Unfortunately, we'll be in session, but
I know.
in heart, we will be with you to plant that tree.
I think there's some discussions with folks to maybe there might be a possibility of a pause in session, but I
Okay.
don't know if that will actually occur. But yes, we'll be there with bells on, and we'll feel the love of the Southern Maryland delegation. I also want to let you know that the required master plan of the Southern Maryland National Heritage Area, despite many changes at the National Park Service and some delays and such, is nearing its full draft stage, and will be reviewed by our steering committee very soon. We are planning a release of that, and then it has to go back to the Park Service, and we don't have their time frame. But we're planning a release of that plan to the public in a kind of major event at the Thomas Stone National Historic Site, because this will be the public's plan. We want the public to weigh in on the plan, and then after the public weighs in, we send it back to the National Park Service for final approval by the Secretary of Interior. So it's going to be a big deal. We don't have a date for that yet. Sometime in the spring, we're thinking, or May or June, early summer. And we have just signed an historic agreement with the Thomas Stone National Historic Site to, we'll be sharing space with them. We'll be having an interpretive and educational programming agreement that was also signed by the Department of Interior. So that's a big deal for us. And also it's a way to help a very underused site. And we're looking forward to helping them be able to be open more for the community and really bring their programming, out into the region, out into the state. We also have launched a wonderful passport program. 15 sites are included, and those are flying off the shelves. Next Friday is Tourism Day. I'll be visiting a lot of your offices, whether I can meet with you directly or just with your staff. We'll be bringing some of our cool new materials, including the passports. So when you go around Southern Maryland, you can visit the sites and get each site. We've created a unique passport representing that site. So say Calvert Marine Museum will be a megalodon tooth. Historic St. Mary City will be the dove. Thomas Stone is their beautiful Habitat building. So they're beautiful stamps. And I just wanted to give a plug for that. And thank you for your time this morning. And if there's any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Well, absolutely. I don't know. I don't have any questions, any hands yet, but certainly tell me again about the Thomas Stone site, because that's off of Rose Hill Road
Yes,
in
yes.
Comfort.
And Thomas Stone National Historic Site is our only site of a signer of the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
And the Smallwood Park is not far from there. And of course, General Smallwood was who led the Maryland 400, which helped save the Union, basically, up in New York, helped delay the British troops so that George Washington could escape. They knew each other and they were part of the same time period. So it's very exciting. And it's a beautiful, beautiful site. But because of funding and other issues, they've only been open on Saturday and Sundays about half the year. And so if we can help them open maybe on a Friday and then maybe a Thursday and a Friday, in addition to the weekend, then school kids could start to come and people could start to get involved in programming about this story, which isn't really told in our region. And that's part of our job, is to kind of look at stories that haven't really been addressed and make sure that we have a way to support them.
I remember years ago there was commemoration or observance of the slave cemetery that's on the Thomas Stone site. And it's a huge facility, it's a huge acreage, and you're right, it has not been utilized.
Right. And to your point, the stories that we tell need to be talking about the full story for someone to be able, yes, to risk his home and his livelihood by signing the Declaration of Independence. How was he supported? Who did the work? Who did the buildings? Who cooked the food? Who are the ones that made it possible for that man to sign the Declaration of Independence? That is a vital story that has to be told along with the other stories.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I do have one other quick question, Lucille.
Oh,
I
yes, no,
s-
please.
I saw somewhere where there were several cemeteries that were received grants. Was that under your program or someone else's?
That probably under some of the other programs, there's a specific program now for cemeteries, and I can get you that information because I think that's really important. We love to be able to support cemeteries if we can, but it also has to be tied into some sort of sustainability program and also some sort of a heritage tourism or educational component, which I think cemeteries can be. But we are part of the uh, it's called something of historic trades, Association of Historic Trades, which are looking for cemeteries to restore in our region to help, do work with
Right,
cemeteries in our region.
right.
So we are part of that.
All right. Thank you again.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the presentations. And I have on yesterday I had the occasion to speak with Mr. Young, who's with the Southern Maryland Tri-County Community Action Committee Incorporated, which serves the 3 counties. And there were some challenges and some concerns. So I asked Mr. Young if he would come on board and just share with us some of the proposals and funding requests that are being offered. Mr. Young,
Sure,
you're on.
sure. Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, delegation, for taking the time out to invite and listen to an update in terms of where we are today. We did present a LBI to the Charles County delegation. We got feedback. Um, and we want to thank all the members that we met with yesterday. So thank you for taking time out to meet with us and talking to us in terms of where things are. Since we've met, and as you know, 2 of our major buildings are closed. One is the Forbes building and the other is the Monk building. Since then, we've been able to raise $125,000 to deal with some of the more immediate issues. And one, we're going to roll out an RFP for architect and engineer services. And we just had the Forbes building roof replaced. So that gives us a balance to deal with the internal renovation for the Monk building. But the majority of the funds that are needed that poses greater need that's associated with the Forbes building, because you're talking about a residential and commercial use property. The upstairs is residential and the downstairs is commercial. So you're talking about bringing that building up to code, up to current standards, and the cost of renovation and materials that we would have to deal with that. Firewall issue, if it's going to remain as a residential building upstairs, and then sprinkler system. So we submitted a proposal that represents about $1 million. Once we get the architect and engineer, we'll have more real numbers, more updated numbers, because the quote that we got was from the previous architect and engineer that gave us the estimates a couple of years ago. So we recognize that we need support from the entire Southern Maryland delegation from each county, because the majority of the customers that we serve, roughly 80,000 every year, most of those are served in the Hughesville offices. And so we recognize the need to get a combination of support from all 3 jurisdictions. So we really appreciate anything that can be done. We realize that $1 million ask is hefty considering the state's financial situation, but this is something that the agency needs. I need a commitment. I need support from the delegation. It's very rare that I come before this body to ask for help. And this situation is a dire need. And We are working towards some of the other recommendations that was given to us by Delegate Patterson and some of the other members. So we're going to follow through with some of the recommendations that were put on the table. But that's our update, and that's kind of where we are.
Well, thank you, Mr. Young. But would you just succinctly offer the kinds of services that you provide? We know is Tri-County, but I know because of the economy, there's specific services and needs why this critical, these renovations are needed.
Okay, so the largest program that reaches the most people, we have 19 service providers, our emergency food program. So that program alone serves roughly about 15 individuals benefit from that program. Then we have the housing counseling services. So anyone who's interested in becoming a first-time home buyer or who's going through foreclosure, bankruptcy, student loan counseling, any of those kinds of services, that service is also offered in that facilities. Our emergency energy assistance program, we serve about 10,000 plus coming out of that facility, and we serve all 3 counties. We have an adult daycare in Calvert County that we're trying to get open. The needs have changed since it was last open. It was open in 2022, and we haven't been able to open it because of the cost of hiring the medical team that's needed to reopen that facility. And then we have Head Start and Early Head Start, and we have a child care partnership program. We serve about 109 children in St. Mary's in Charles County. And then we have 2 daycares that are on 2 of our properties, one in Calvert County and one in St. Mary's County, that serves low-income children. And that, in a nutshell, is pretty much what we do as an
That's a
organization.
lot. That's a lot. And so colleagues and those who are listening, it's really critical that we support this Tri-County Community Action Committee, simply because when you talk about the emergency services, that is, and with the weather being the way it is, we know that you can't fulfill all the requirements or requests that you have. So I thank you very much. And if we need to write a letter of support, please let me know how we can assist you in that venture.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Are there any questions, any comments the people who are in attendance would like to offer? If not, I simply want to say thank you very much for the presenters today, this morning. As always, the reason you are asked to be a presenter is because of your level of commitment and because of the level of information that you're able to share and the hard work that you do. Really appreciate you. And I would like to also thank my Chief of Staff, Kara Franklin, for all the work that she does, and then our intern from the University of Maryland, Melissa Mason, for her assistance as well. And for all of the staff that we have here in Annapolis who are supporting the legislators, we want to thank you for your hard work and being consistent. Now, we will have 3 more meetings, February the 20th at 9, March the 6th, and at March the 20th. So 3 more meetings. And if you have any burning issues, Kara, if you want to share the topics that we have established thus far, but we're really flexible if something comes up down the pike that we need to insert, which is what we did this morning.
Good morning. So we've got, we're going to be hearing from Congressman Hoyer, the Department of Legislative Services, and then on March 6th, we're going to be hearing from Constellation Energy. We're also going to hear from Secretary Rothstein. And then we also have Senator Alsobrooks and Senator Van Hollen on the schedule. And I can't access the rest of it. I apologize, folks, because if I go to a different page, I may lose the live feed. So
That's fine. That's enough. And so you will see we try to cover issues or items that cover the Southern Maryland region. So with that in mind, I'm going to ask if there's a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Is there a second? It's been moved in second, and we thank you very much and have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.